Right.
For me, puppets just happened accidentally to step into my life. I didn't go looking for puppets. I was 17 years old when I saw this, my very first puppet show, at a theater in Chicago, which was, and still is, renowned by every puppeteer, the Kungsholm Miniature Grand Opera. So I attended the puppet opera when I was 17 years old. To it, a neighbor, school teacher, who had recognized me as a young artist. She called me over to her house and said, "Gary, I think you should go and see this." On an Easter Sunday, I went with a date to the puppet opera, and I saw Madame Butterfly in Italian. I'd never seen an opera before. I was hooked from that moment when I was 17. And I returned to the puppet opera many times from 17 until I was 25 or 26. At that point, I made up my mind that I was going to get into that theater. And I wrote them letters and asked them for a job interview. And lo and behold, I got the job. They hired me as an assistant scenic designer and puppeteer. And within a year, I had become a principal puppeteer and the guy that designed and built all the miniature scenery. That was the beginning. I stayed at the puppet opera for 3.5 years until it closed in 1971. And then I left with the idea to do this. The company took the name, as it still bears the name, the Blackstreet USA Puppet Theatre. Here in Los Angeles, we have a subtitle. When I first moved here, people said, "Well, Gary, the name Blackstreet USA Puppet Theatre is not going to fly in Los Angeles. And you have all black puppets. You've got to get some white puppets if you want to be successful." In 1984, this is what was thrown at me. So I invented this title, the Yuppets, the Young Urban Professional Puppets. And I hired a few white puppets, meaning that I just took some of the unfinished puppets and painted them white. Which to me is kind of funny because even painted with white makeup, they had originally been sculpted as black people with full lips and wide noses and African features all over their faces, because that's the essence of Blackstreet USA, is to celebrate full lips. When I began to make the puppets, I wanted to contribute to the movement of Black pride, knowing full well that as a young adult and as a child, how we had discriminated against the children in our own community. Someone asked me that before, why do you do this? I used to answer, it helps me to get laid. And that's true too, but I don't think we want to go into that. But it does, yeah. Beyond that, trajectory from Mrs. Morphus sending me to the Kungsholm Miniature Grand Opera when I was 16 years old, but she sent me there. And the impact was so great that there doesn't seem to have ever been any doubt that that impact would echo throughout the rest of my life. And it has.